Hey, Fandom. Cowboy Joe here. We're back. Thank you. Brand new show. Brand new stuff. Joined by my buddy here, Jeff Hasley. Thank you for taking the time to join us. We have a whole new show for you guys. New season, new stuff.
All
Jeff,
right.
what do you got for us?
All right. Cowboy Joe, thanks so much. Appreciate it. Well, guys, we got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about the Christian McCaffrey injury. We got to talk about our Panthers, what we liked, what we didn't like. We have to mention the Atlanta Falcons play against the Cowboys. And also we'll take a look at our preview for next week against the Chargers and kind of what we need to do and how we can get a W. So here we go. We'll start it off. Just a little bit about McCaffrey. Gosh, that was a big surprise. I wasn't thinking that it was going to be that much of an injury, and it looks like he's going to be out maybe 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. That's what the doctors are saying. That's what the MRI led to today. But McCaffrey says that he thinks he can come back sooner, and so that's interesting. And my question is, when did it happen? The word out of the press conference here today was Matt Rule said the injury actually occurred a few plays earlier than the fourth quarter touchdown run. And if you watch that replay, you can kind of see McCaffrey's a little gingerly when he's running. Like something is bothering him or he's favoring something. And we thought that was where the injury might have occurred, but it happened earlier than that. And right now, without the all 22 to have the film, we can't really see exactly how or when it happened. And so, we're just going with the news, and that's a big blow to the Panthers. Obviously, he's a huge piece of their offense. They're going to have to step up in other ways, and they kind of needed to do that anyway because he was the primary focus, not only for just the offense, but also in the red zone, where the Panthers have been struggling. At least other people other than McCaffrey have been struggling. So who steps up? What do you think? I'm hearing Mike Davis is going to step up. I mean, he looked good. He had 8 catches, 74 yards, but, he only had 1 carry for 1 yard. So that's a little bit of a concern. But then again, it was, game script and the Panthers were in pass mode when it happened.
That's what concerns me, though. It concerns me that we have a running back like Mike Davis, which is I seen him have some glory days. Mm-hmm. And I seen him, break some big runs. And only 1 yard, that kind of concerns me because it becomes more of a passing game. Your receivers are not doing what they're supposed to be doing. You got 3 receivers there, and I think 3, I'm not going to say top 10 receivers, but at least top 20. With Anderson, with you have these receivers, and you're not utilizing them to their potential. And I'm going to be bluntly honest. When we played the Jets, last year, mm-hmm. Anderson blew us up. And I don't think we're using those same plays that he's used to. And I think the coaching staff needs to come up with some good receiving plays while McCaffrey's gone because, you know what? Mike Davis is a workhorse, could be that workhorse, but, 1 yard really does concern me, not getting that production from a running back.
Yeah, and also, too, I mean, the carry when it happened, it was near the end of the game. They were focusing more on passing the ball, so he didn't get more carries. But we've seen him have some success before in the past, and there's also Reggie Bonifant, who I think they're going to call up from the practice squad to take over some of the role, some of the carries. I don't see this all being Mike Davis. I see Davis being the big winner in terms of the receiving side of McCaffrey. Maybe Bonifant is the rushing side of McCaffrey. I don't think we're going to get the full package.
No, it's rushing by committee.
Rushing by committee, exactly. And you talked about Robbie Anderson and of course DJ Moore. Moore stepped it up this past week. Anderson has been great the last 2 weeks, 100 yards each week, and DJ Moore over 100 yards this week. So they're going to have to step it up a little bit, as well as the tight ends too. I mean, right now the tight ends have 4 catches on the season in 2 games, 4 catches and 4 targets.
And so think about it. Last year, it was all McCaffrey. It was all him. Now, defenses are ready for him. They already game plan for him. They already have him set up. So they already have people that are going to watch him They're going to just spy on him. So this is exactly what now needs to happen. Bridgewater, let him loose. He's a great quarterback when you let him loose. I think he's a Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss with Anderson. If we let him. And yeah, you guys think I'm crazy, but I seen Bridgewater get loose. You know, I'm from Miami and he's from Miami, and I seen his games in Miami. He gets loose with when Amari Cooper was his wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I think there's going to be a lot of things that need to change offensively. Now, also let's talk on the other side, because you know I didn't think it was going to be that much of Brady, you know, exploiting you guys that bad, and Brady did do that. So I kind of, you know, defensively, I know it's all new, the new defense, a lot of things that they have to do, stunts, you know, shifts and all, but you know, I think as we go, let's just face it. We didn't have any preseason games. Let's just be honest. No preseason games. This COVID stuff really affected a lot of the NFL teams. A lot of NFL teams look lethargic, slow. They're catching now their moments. You know, they're getting together. They're practicing more. They're getting game time play that they could actually learn and now focus going. So I could see the Panthers picking it up, momentum when McCaffrey starts coming back. I could see the next 3 games probably. You know, still some kinks that they have to work out, some webs that they have to shake out, but we'll see. I think this team is a good, and I'm going to say, Panther fans, a 9-7 team.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That's high praise right there.
A lot of people put them as the bottom of the division. I don't think they're the bottom of the division.
Well, I think we're going to find out.
The people that
got some competition with Atlanta, that's for sure. We'll get to Atlanta in a little bit, and you touched a little bit on the defense, which I want to talk about. But first, let's talk about, if we can, just what we liked about Week 2. What's one thing that you liked about Week 2?
I like the fact that Bridgewater's not afraid. You know, I saw him coming into the season and saying, "Hey, you know, how's he going to replace the great Cam Newton? You know, how's he going to do that? How are we going to be able to see, you know, a quarterback step up here when, you know, Allen couldn't do it?" And now Bridgewater came in. He's not afraid. He's not afraid to get hit. That's number one. With the injury that he suffered in Minnesota, I thought he would be afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to take a hit, but make sure he completes the pass. And what I've seen is some great passes while he stood in the pocket getting hit. So that's what's impressing me right now. Bridgewater play.
Yeah, but he was also a little bit inaccurate. You know, we have to mention the bad with the good as well when it comes to Bridgewater, and especially that interception that was in the third quarter where they were down, or was it the third quarter? I think it was the third quarter where they were down by 7. And they were going for, it was a game-tying drive, and he threw the interception. And then the next play, maybe it was the fourth quarter, the next play, or not the next play, but the next possession, the Buccaneers had, Leonard Fournette had that long run, and that just kind of blew the game open. And it was a struggle after that. But one thing that I liked about Week 2 is that the defense started strong. If you recall, the first game, you know, they stopped the Raiders on a 3-and-out in their first possession. They did the exact same thing against the Bucs, which is impressive. I mean, not many teams can say they've done that on one, for opening drive, let alone 2 in a row. So that's good, but they've got to get pressure on the quarterback, and we haven't seen that yet, which I'll get to when we talk about what we didn't like. But it's let's stick with what we do like.
12th and pass. I like that. They starting off strong.
Uh-huh.
You know, I thought the secondary was going to be suspect, but they're not. They're 12th in the pass, so I like that a lot.
Yeah, 12th in pass defense. They're 19th in run defense as far as yards allowed, but they've allowed 6 rushing touchdowns, and that has to stop. They got to stop that. They got to get to the quarterback. They got to create pressure, and that's what's going to help that defense. That's what's going to help them get off the field. And they also can't have. I'm getting into stuff that we didn't like. They also can't have these penalties that gives the opponent a first down. Derek Brown had 2 of them yesterday where it was a third down penalty and it resulted in a first down. And that's going to continue the drive and allow more points. So another thing I like,
the receivers with 100 yards each impressed me a lot. Because I think there's so much potential right now, and if we could get more protection of Bridgewater, and not have him just bounce to the edges every time he feels somebody's there. If we could get him some time, I think these receivers are going to be some good receivers. And like I said before, I said they were not top 10. If we could get them the ball more and they're able to step up while McCaffrey's gone, I think you could see these receivers as a good tandem.
Well, they definitely have an opportunity to overcome adversity here, and a lot of times that's what makes a good team better or a bad team more acceptable. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Hey, I want to talk about the Falcons and the Cowboys game and how that game came down to the crazy onside kick. What were you thinking when that happened as a Cowboys fan?
I'll run you down what I thought when I just kept looking at the scoreboard, and then Zeke fumbled it back to back, and and then going down 20-0. I'm like, same old Cowboys giving me the same stress every year,
Yeah.
Then when I seen Dak rush for that rushing touchdown and that pass to Amari, and then oh my God, CeeDee Lamb, the man, the legend, get some passes and get open like he did. I'm like, okay, do we have a chance? When we hit 37, 39, I'm like, okay, we're going to lose by 2. I'm not too disappointed. We came back. And when that onside kick came in and we grabbed it back, dude, I lost all control. I think all my neighbors knew I was a Cowboy fan because I was, yes, that's how you do it. F you, Falcons. I was just so hyped.
If you look at that play design, that onside kick, the slow rolling, curving ball that's like spinning, and first of all, I don't think the Falcons knew that it was going to go 10 yards, and I think that's why they were a little bit apprehensive on trying to get on the ball. Because they didn't think it was going to go 10 yards. And if it doesn't go 10 yards and they touch it, well, then it's open, right? So here's Dallas positioning themselves around the ball, waiting for this ball to get past 10 yards.
That ball went in slow motion. The slowest motion I've ever seen in my life.
That's got to be one of the best onside kicks ever in the history of the NFL, especially when the success rate now, since they've changed it with the kickoff alignment, is like 7%.
And the 7%. Funny part is Fox was talking about how the Cowboys should get the Atlanta kicker to do these onside kicks because his accuracy is really well, and he's got 6 of them that Atlanta recovered. And I'm like, oh no, don't tell me this. And then they put that highlight that Zerline did not get one since like 2014. I'm like, oh, we're done. Oh, we're so done. Well, you know what? Let's just try and see what happens. And it's just, I closed my eyes. I literally closed my eyes and said, God, please get this onside kick. I will do whatever you want me to do if we get this back. If we got this back, I just lost all control.
Typical Falcons, man. Get a lead and lose it. That's hilarious. And as a Panthers fan, it's great to see that. And this is a Panthers show, so we want to get back to, or at least a Carolina show. And we want to get it back. But before that, I do want to
speak about Cam. If it's a Carolina show, we got to speak about Cam.
Yes. I was just going to say, we need to talk about Cam Newton and his success, even though he didn't get the game-winning touchdown. In fact, it looked pretty awful. But he looked great, I thought, that whole game. He was passing well, stepping up in the pocket, delivering. Week 1, it was all about him running, right? Mm-hmm. Scoring touchdowns, and of course he did that week 2 as well. But almost 400 yards passing.
Was wow.
The only thing that was really kind of wrong or bad with his performance was just the fact that he couldn't seal the deal with the win at the end. And everyone was expecting that. Everyone was thinking he's going to run it. It looked like when he tried to take off, first of all, kudos to the Seahawks for having the strength on their defensive line to push and just literally outman New England's front unit, their trench unit on the offensive line. But it looked like even though Cam took off at like the 3-yard line. I don't understand why they didn't then line up under center as opposed to shotgun. Well, why would you do that? But it worked earlier in the game, and I get it. That's kind of how it is. And you play, you run a play. It's worked before in the past. It's worked again, and it's hard to win 3 times in a row.
This is not Madden, and defenses adjust.
Yeah,
you beat us once, you're not going to beat us again. And that's basically what Seahawks did. You're not going to beat us again. I'm sorry. I know what you're doing. We're going to go ahead and push that line back, and you're not going to be able to get not even a yard.
No, he flopped. He flopped. But still, great to see Cam Newton having some success in New England. I kind of hope that they sign him to an extension because his contract that he has right now is, nothing compared to some of these other NFL quarterback starters. So
if they don't sign him, I kind of think it's going to be the Indianapolis Colts that'll sign him.
The Colts who sign who?
Cam Newton, if New England decides to pass on him next year.
Why do you think the Colts? That's interesting.
Because Phillip Rivers, this is his last year. He's not doing too well there. I think this was his his last hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm retiring after Manning because we both came in the same. Manning's already gone. So you know what? This is my last hurrah. I'm done. They're going to need another quarterback.
Well, New England
they had a great combination. I don't think they ever gave him the chance to really flourish into a quarterback. And with Cam, if he has an amazing season, it'll be dumb if the New England Patriots don't sign him. That's one. But just think about their track record with quarterbacks and how they like to get those standard contracts. Look, Tom Brady took how many pay cuts to bring players in?
Yeah.
So think about that. Cam's camp was also thinking about that. Should I, would I be here? If they're not going to offer me what I think I'm worth, especially if I have an amazing season, if they go to the playoffs or even the Super Bowl. And I think that team's still a Super Bowl bound team. Everybody thinking that just because Brady left, that whole team is dismantled, and I don't think that's the case.
Well, they just gave up 5 passing touchdowns to Russell Wilson, and they gave up 4 all last year.
Yeah, but it's Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson airs it out, and Gilbert was stuck with
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, like glue, and still can bring that kid down. So you have to take that into consideration. It is the Seahawks. The Seahawks do air it out, and every time they meet, it's kind of Wilson's show, with the exception of Brady doing the same thing on the other side. This is the first time Cam, in a long time, met his good friend Russell. He was also, what my favorite moment of that game was? When he went over there and hugged the Olsen. That was my favorite moment. 2 Panthers hugging each other and say, hey, long time no see. They hugged like they were the best friends in the world that they haven't seen each other for years.
That's right. Yeah, that was really awesome to see. And I'm glad that they caught that on camera and we're able to show everybody. It'd be nice if there was audio with that, but I'll take it. All right, so back to the Panthers. We talked about what we liked. How about what we didn't necessarily like about week 2 and things that we can do to improve? I don't want to dwell too much on this, but shoot, they had 4 turnovers this past week. They had none week 1. They had 9 penalties this week. They had 5 week 1. I already talked to you about the late hit on Derek Brown and how it cost the team 4 points because it extended a drive for Tampa Bay. They have to get pressure on the quarterback. They have 0 sacks after 2 games. They're the only team in the NFL without a sack, including the 2 teams that are playing Monday night. The Raiders and the Saints. They have 0 quarterback hits. They don't even have a quarterback hit. And they have 3 quarterback hurries. And I'm going to say something real quick. The 1 interception that they got yesterday was the result of a quarterback hurry. So if they can get to the quarterback, good things are going to happen defensively. And we saw that. We just need more of it. We need more of it. 3 quarterback hurries. The Browns have 19 to lead the league. And,
Come on, Myles Garrett, really? That's an elite end. I would expect that. These guys are young still. You have to cut them some slack. This is the team is learning a new system. So most of the players that are here are learning a whole new defensive system. They're learning new stunts. They're learning new gaps. You have to understand, it's going to take time for them to mesh together. This is a team that's brought in by draft picks. This defense is all draft picks, basically. And it's all mushed together. It's like a Frankenstein project. You're bringing parts from everywhere and just putting them all together. It takes time. And again, and let's be honest, the whole NFL looked slow. It was a slow NFL. The first 2 weeks, I seen every team have some point of miss or some lapse in their defense or even their offense. So I can't really fault the teams because they had no preseason. Again, like I'm just spitting out what I know. That no preseason, so you can't really learn all this stuff and practice it or hit somebody. So there's a lot of things that are going on. Yes, they need to they need to rush that quarterback. I agree, 100%. They have to rush that quarterback. If they rush that quarterback, Tom Brady's 43 years old. Dude, you could get a sack. But again, they're learning. I think, mark my words, Fandom, you hear it first here. 4 sacks in week 5.
By week 5, the whole team?
Yep.
Are you saying they get 4 sacks in
that
week
game?
5?
The 5th game, they're going to get 4 sacks that game. Okay.
All right. We'll see. One thing that I do want to point out, though, is Joe Brady and his play calling so far. Not to really get too deep into this, but as far as the red zone is concerned, Teddy Bridgewater is completing 37.5% of his passes in the red zone for 28 yards. He's 3 for 8, which is just that's rough. We can't have that. There's only 1 first down that they've gotten out of all of those. And this was supposed to be Joe Brady's wheelhouse, right? He did so many good things with LSU and their offense, especially in the red zone. That's kind of where he took over from Steve Ensminger, the quote offensive coordinator for LSU, right? As the passing coordinator, Joe Brady took over in the red zone, and that's where Joe Burrow had his success. So we're not really seeing that yet in the red zone here for Carolina. And I'm not sure if that's all Bridgewater's fault or if there is some sort of, I don't want to say blame, but just
I'm not blaming anybody.
My expectations were just a little bit higher when it comes to red zone efficiency with Brady calling the plays, and I just haven't seen it yet.
So let me ask you something. You're offensive coordinator right now. You're drawing up some plays right now. You have a stud like McCaffrey in the red zone. Wouldn't about 80% of your plays be for that stud?
Well, yeah. Well, either that or like some
thing that you have to look at,
or some diversions, some decoys, some bunch formations or something.
Now that McCaffrey's not there, he's going to have to draw up some new plays in the red zone, and he's going to have to that 80% when McCaffrey comes back is going to go down to either 50 or even 40% because they need to adjust. Everybody's going to go after McCaffrey, no matter what. If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm just saying, where's 22?
Yeah.
Where is 22 lining up?
I'll
have a spy on them.
That's a good point. And we're going to find out exactly what this team and what this offense is made out of without McCaffrey for X amount of games. And so let's take a look going into the future. Next week, they travel to Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium, against the Chargers. And whether that's going to be Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert, we don't know that yet because the coach just he says one thing and probably means another, and we just don't know yet. But anyway, we got a plan for the Chargers, who are now they're 1-1. They beat Cincinnati week 1. So, your thoughts on the Chargers?
Man, Chargers look good. That defense looks good. I'm scared of the defense. So I'm scared for that line. Bosa, all of these guys. And then it's not just Bosa. This whole team is made for speed. And what I see with this team is, good defense, a adequate offense. It reminds me of the old Peyton Manning Broncos. Let's get a good defense out there so we could at least keep the score down.
Mm-hmm.
and let's just win by field goal. Hey, they pushed Kansas City to the limit.
Yeah, and the Chargers have been really good rushing the ball. Both Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler are doing a really good job. It seems like both are having high success when they're getting their name called. So they've got to stop the run. Panthers have to stop the run. That's first and foremost, I think. But, like we already talked about, defense. It's got to happen on the defensive side of the ball, too. We can't worry about offense when the defense is giving up everything. So, yeah, they're going to have to just play sound football, make no mistakes. Hopefully we step up in McCaffrey's absence here and get a W in the win column.
Let's see how good you are, Mr. Statman. How many man-to-man coverages did the Panthers blow last week?
I don't know. It seemed like they were playing it like zone coverage most of the game. I don't think they were playing man-to-man.
So the man-to-man is something you guys focused on the year prior, and you guys were really good at it. I understand you have some corners that are not as sound as you think they are, but you're gonna have to go back to it. When you guys played man-to-man, those linebackers were free, and that you need to free those linebackers. You need to have those linebackers free to hit or stop the run, hit those gaps. The defensive line is not going to do it alone. And last year, remember, you had the great Poe in there. Not to mention he's a Cowboy now, but you had some good people in the interior. Now with these rookies, you need to give them some time to catch up. So these linebackers are key to help these linemen to get back into like a rhythm or even gel together. So I think it's a good game. It's a tricky game to say who's going to win because everybody's going to put the Chargers as the winner. I honestly don't think the Chargers have that X factor in offense. If we could get the quarterback, create a couple of turnovers, and stop their run, I think the Panthers are well in it.
Well, we're going to definitely find out, and we'll be back next week so we can talk about the results of that game and then look forward to week 4. So anything else you got on your mind while we wrap this up?
Got a lot of things on my mind, but you know what? I'm still stoked about the Cowboy win. we got Russell Wilson next week, so I'm kind of dreading this right now.
Yeah, well, that's going to be a tough one, and I think Dallas plays better. If we can talk about Dallas for a second, I think Dallas plays better when they're the underdog. Don't you agree?
I do, and I think honestly, everybody said a lot of stuff about Jason Garrett. He was the issue. A lot of issues, a lot of stuff were exposed this week and last week about it's not just the coaching, it's the players, their want, their desire, and again, I'm gonna trash my favorite player, Mr. 90, because sometimes he just gives up on plays, and DeMarcus, if you are, send me a like, because I'm a Cowboy fan, but you're the man, you're the it factor for us, and this defense runs on him, and if he's lethargic, everybody's lethargic, and Jalen Smith now going back to his regular position. I like that. I like the fact that they moved him back. And Nolan is a good defensive coordinator. He does bring the heat to them. So I think just like the Panthers need to gel on defense, the Cowboys need to gel on defense because the offense is sound. I think the offense is good. Even with those two left, the tackles that we had, Tyron Smith was gone yesterday. We still played pretty good.
Well, we're gonna find out exactly how well Dallas does, and we'll talk a little bit about that next week as well. I'm sure because you won't let me not talk about it. But as far as Panthers fans are concerned, hey, let's pull up our bootstraps and see what we can do without McCaffrey and be more ingenuitive, I guess, as far as offensive play calls and step it up defensively, and we'll see what happens.
Fans, fandom, I think you guys are fine. These are learning curves that they're going through. New coach, new system, new team. A lot of changes. This is every team that has these amount of changes go through this learning curve. Don't give up on them. Don't ever give up on the Panthers. I think they're a good team. I always thought that, my love is Dallas Cowboys, but my second love right now is the Carolina Panthers. And I dare somebody to talk bad about the Panthers. I don't even talk about the Panthers unless I have my regular, your Homer JJ talking about the Cowboys. So that's when I go defensive.
We're looking forward to having some guests on the show, some of our fans on the show. So if you're interested, let us know, and we'll get you on the show. I think that'll be. I'm looking forward to definitely bringing some fans on the show and definitely talking more Panthers, less Cowboys, more Panthers.
Or we could talk more Cowboys, less Panthers. Either one, it's fine by me. Hey, Fandom, I'm willing to do any dare. You tell me what to do, we're doing it. We are doing it. I just don't get naked anywhere. Just a disclosure.
That's off the books there. We're not talking that.
Yeah, and I don't think you guys want to see me. I'm still polar bear season.
All right, man. Well, hey, good talking to you. And we will pick this up next week, hopefully after a win against the Chargers on the road. Can you imagine that?
22. No, wait. No, hold on. Let me think. Let me give you the Swami version of this. Panthers 17-13.
Oh, a defensive battle. I like it. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see you next week.
Fandom, good night.